Now, here's the important thing. Here's the interesting thing about Donnie Tanahan's administration is that he's not a real conservative. Donnie, right? So when Republicans or people who weren't Republicans or whoever voted for Donnie, they didn't vote for republicanism. They didn't vote for conservatism. What they voted for was anti-establishment. They wanted to crush the Republican establishment. They wanted to crush the Democratic establishment. That's what that vote for Donnie Tanahan's was. And so now it's going to be interesting to see how he governs, A, because he can't get along with anybody for 5 seconds, and B, because he's not a real conservative, and he pledged things that weren't conservative, like he was going to protect Medicare and Social Security. He said it, right? Republicans always trying to cut it. He campaigned on, I'm going to save it. I'm going to protect it. So that's anti-conservative. So now a battle to change Medicare is brewing, whether Trump wants it or not. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be interesting.
How about the American public?
Right?
What's the will of the American public?
They keep voting for the Republicans, even though everything's gerrymandered. Do you really think about this? More Americans vote against the Republicans for Congress, yet the Republicans run the Congress. Most Americans vote against the Republicans running the Senate, yes, yet they run the Senate. Most Americans voted against the Republicans running the executive branch, yet they're going to run the executive branch. Most Americans voted the other way, yet we have a minority government. How does that happen? Gerrymandering and election fraud. That's how that happens. Well, guess what? This is what they say in the Times. With Election Day behind them, emboldened House Republicans say they will move forward on a years-old effort to shift Medicare away from its open-ended commitment to pay for medical services and toward a fixed government contribution for each beneficiary. And Democrats are relishing the fight and preparing to defend the program, which was created in 1965 as part of Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society. Wouldn't it be great if Barack Obama had something like that we could all fight for, to defend, instead of that corporate bullshit, toxic soup of healthcare he put together? That was actually cooked up at the Heritage Foundation. It's not a progressive healthcare bill whatsoever. They believe that if Mr. Trump chooses to do battle over Medicare, meaning the Democrats, if the Democrats believe that if Mr. Trump chooses to do battle over Medicare, he would squander political capital as President George W. Bush did with an effort to add private investment accounts to Social Security after his reelection in 2004. Yes, people didn't vote for George Bush because they wanted to privatize Social Security, right? They voted for him because they were scared of terrorism, and they didn't think that John Kerry would be able to protect them like George W. Bush and Darth Vader could. So they voted for him, and then as soon as he gets reelected, he's like, hey, let's privatize Social Security. People are like, whoa. And the Democrats came together, and independents and Purple State, and they said no to that. Don't know George Bush, no. Democrats say that premium support would privatize Medicare, replace the current government guarantee with skimpy vouchers, quote, coupon care for seniors. They fear that. So what this plan is that the Republicans want to do?
I hope it's a voucher.
So they're going to give you money. They're not. So how we have Medicare, your taxes go into Medicare, you pay for Medicare, and so when you get sick, you don't have to go buy insurance. You just have it from the government. Medicare pays the bill when you go to the doctor. So they want to change that. They want to add a middleman. They want to put a private insurer, the private insurers whose job it is to deny you health care. They want to put a private insurer in between you and your doctor now. That's what the Republicans want to do. And they want to give them one set fee. Like here, for each old person you give health care to, we're going to give you $10,000 a year, whatever. And then you're stuck with them. So if you end up spending $100,000 to make them because they're sick, that's your problem. Well, they're not going to spend that to take care of. They're going to deny them service left and right. That's what insurance companies do. So now you're making the shitty health care that we all experience on a daily basis, why people have to have fundraisers when their kid gets sick. Now we're trying to transfer that to old people, to the elderly. That's what the Republicans want to do. And so what that will do is, so now we're going to have private insurance for the elderly instead of government insurance, which everyone knows is better. Medicare is better. It's the more efficient, more And the people who use Medicare, the most popular health insurance system in the country is Medicare. And turns out it's the most efficient. What? I thought private companies do everything better. That's because you're listening to mainstream news. So here they say that the fear is that the healthiest seniors would choose private insurance, lured by offers of free health club memberships and other wellness programs. So health insurance companies will want to get healthy seniors to sign up, which again will undermine any other public, leaving traditional Medicare with sicker, more expensive patients and higher premiums. I'm scared to death, said Mr. Dropout, who has multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer, and takes a drug that costs more than $10,000 a month.
Thanks, Obama.
We don't know exactly how it will work, but just the fact that they are talking about messing with Medicare, it's frightening to me. So this is a winner for the Democrats. And I have a serious feeling that they will find a way to fuck it up.
It's 6 o'clock.
It is 6. Senator Richard M. Burr, Republican of North Carolina, has proposed a version of premium support, and other Republican senators have expressed interest, but the idea has not gained as much traction in the Senate as in the House. No, because senators have to run statewide, and congressmen run in their little goofy gerrymandered district, all full of maniacs. But the Senate has to run statewide, and that's why they're not cottoning to it, because people fucking love Medicare. It is not just Republicans who have expressed interest in the idea. Alice M. Rivlin, who was a director of the White House Office of Management and Budget under President Bill Clinton.
Oh, friend of the people.
Friend of the people. Oh, really? The person who will work. Oh, really? Turns out Bill Clinton's director of White House Office and Management and Budget. Weird. That's so weird. That someone from the Clinton administration would be lockstep with a Republican idea to fuck up Medicare. One of the biggest successes the government has ever done. You know, before Medicare, old people would retire and then they'd go into poverty. 33% of elderly people before Medicare lived in poverty. 10 years after they instituted Medicare, that number was down to 11%. That's one of the most successful social programs in the history of the universe. President Bill Clinton, the guy who had a secret deal to privatize Social Security, the guy who gutted welfare at the same time he exploded the prison populations, at the same time he deregulated Wall Street, the New Deal regulations on Wall Street, at the same time he passed NAFTA that shifted everybody's job to undermine unions. That Bill Clinton. I wonder why his wife didn't win. She told Congress in 2012 that she favored a bipartisan proposal for premium support because health plans and providers would then seek every possible way to provide higher quality care at lower cost. She said with a straight face, then felt the need to add, "I'm not shitting," over a dozen times as she left the room.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Did they write that in the New York Times? She said that? I'm not shitting? She said everything up until with a straight face. She literally said that. She said providers will then seek every possible way to provide high quality care at a lower cost. That's the kind of shit. That's the gaslighting people say in public. She's a grown-up person. She served in a presidential administration, and she's not embarrassed to come in public and say shit like that. Oh, you know how insurance providers, what they love doing is providing high-quality care at low cost. If that was the case, we wouldn't have a fucking problem. We would have never needed Medicare in the first place. You corporate tool. The Nonpartisan Medicare Payment Advisory Commission, which advises Congress, has explored the idea of premium support and endorsed the principle that Medicare payments should be financially neutral. That is, equal for fee-for-service and Medicare Advantage in each market. I don't even know what any of that means. The Congressional Budget Office analyzed two of the leading options and found that most beneficiaries who wish to remain in the fee-for-service program would pay much higher premiums on average under either alternative. So this whole idea, it screws up it's going to screw up everything for seniors, no matter which program you go on. This will make things worse. In premium support system, each insurer would submit a bid showing the amount of money it was willing to accept to provide care for a typical Medicare beneficiary. Just like I said earlier, Congress would need to define the bid for traditional Medicare. It could, for example, be the expected cost of providing care for a typical beneficiary. We already have a system that's not broken. We already have a system. You don't need any of this shit. Premium support and on the market and this and cost care, providing fee for service. We already have it. Senior citizens have what the rest of the world have. Single payer health care. And they love it. Okay, I'm done with this article. I'm not reading any more of it. There you go. So we'll see. The interesting thing is to see how Donnie Tanahan deals with this. I have a feeling he'll go along with the Republican shit like that, even though he said he was going to protect Medicare and Social Security. And then if the Democrats have half a wit about them, they're going to pin that to them. That's a loser. Privatizing Medicare, Social Security, those are losers. Just like that guy who has the myeloma, the cancer. He's like, they're going to fuck with, why fuck with Medicare? It's working. So those are losers, and the problem is Bill Clinton filled his cabinet with people who think those are good ideas, and so half the Democrats are stupid like that too. The Hillary Clintons. Go ahead, Hank.
Well, the point I always make when when this comes up with conservatives is how much people under 65 benefit from this. You know, you have older relatives, people over 65
yes,
with their
that you don't
healthcare.
have to take care of.
So this is not a program just for seniors. This actually frees younger generations up from having the burden of having to buy their parents food or pay for their parents' healthcare and all that stuff. You know, if all of our grandparents lost healthcare, who's going to fill in that?
Right.
Aside from their lives are going to get worse and they're probably going to die sooner and they're going to suffer more while they get to that deathbed. But we're going to all have to put up the bill for a lot of this. So this is not about seniors. This is about freedom for everybody.
I don't know, but I think you're forgetting that there'll be vouchers available.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, vouchers.
That's right. Dog food vouchers.
I got my mom's 87 with dementia and one lung. What do you think? What kind of deal do you think she's going to get?
God.